The Royal Joust, an original story by Bruce Lansky. Lady Rowena looked at the empty chair at the breakfast table, and then at Lindsay. "Where's your brother? If he doesn't hurry up, he'll be late for the tournament." "Don't worry, Mother. Reggie won't miss the finals of the Royal Joust. I'll see to that," Lindsay answered. When she knocked on Reggie's bedroom door, Lindsay thought she heard a moan. As she opened the door, she noticed that Reggie's curtains were drawn. He was still in bed. Stepping into the room, she realized he was moaning and talking to himself. "Oh no, I can't move," Reggie repeated his lament over and over. "You can't stay in bed, Reggie. Today is the last day of the tournament, so you'd better roll your aching body out of bed and into your armor, then ride over to Northampton by noon or you'll be disqualified." "I want to, but I can't. I was sideswiped by Sir Garth's horse yesterday. I have no idea how I stayed in my saddle. Now I can't ride, I can't walk, I can't even get out of bed," explained Reggie. "Reggie, today is the last day of the tournament, and you're still undefeated. This is your big chance. At least give it a try." "Sorry," said Reggie. "I hate to let you down. Would you mind riding to Northampton to tell the tournament officials I'm withdrawing from the competition?" "No problem, Reggie. I was planning on going anyway to watch you win. No one in the tournament has worked harder than you. I wish I could take your place and bring back a trophy for you." "So do I," said Reggie. "Too bad they don't let girls compete." Lindsay thought about what he said. It bothered her that Reggie would have to drop out of the tournament on the final day. She and Reggie had been training all year. Every day, weather permitting, Reggie's page Giles would help them suit up in armor and hoist them onto chargers so that they could joust with padded lances. Reggie was bigger and stronger than Lindsay, but Lindsay was a skilled rider, better able to guide her horse to precisely the right place at the right time. She was almost impossible to hit, let alone unseat, and Giles knew enough to keep his mouth shut about a girl learning the knightly arts. "You don't mind if I borrow your charger for the trip, do you?" asked Lindsay. "No problem," Reggie responded, even though it was unusual to ride a charger to town. Lightning could use the exercise. "Thanks, Reggie. I'll send them a message they won't soon forget." Lindsay explained to her mother that Reggie had asked her to let the tournament officials know he was unable to compete. Then she hurried to find Giles, for without a page to help her, she couldn't put her plan into action. Giles helped Lindsay put on Reggie's suit of armor and saddle up Lightning. Together, they set off at a trot on the road to Northampton. Lindsay and Giles reached Northampton just as the tournament was about to begin. The crowd milled about in a festive mood while the knights were hoisted onto their horses. No one noticed that Lindsay, disguised as Reggie, was already mounted. Anticipation built as each contestant rode onto the field. There would be 3 rounds of competition, with 8 contestants in the first round, 4 in the second, and 2 in the third. Lindsay had drawn Sir Wilton, one of the tallest knights on the circuit, as her first opponent. With her helmet on and her visor down, Lindsay rode past the tournament officials, dipping her lance in the traditional salute to the king and queen. Then she lined up in Reggie's place at the edge of the field, opposite Sir Wilton. Trumpets blew a fanfare, and the tournament was underway. On the first pass, Lindsay ducked under Sir Wilton's lance and managed to strike him on the shoulder. Although Sir Wilton was stunned, he remained in his saddle. On the second pass, Lindsay guided Lightning inside toward Sir Wilton, whose horse shied away. Sir Wilton dropped his lance as he grabbed for the reins with both hands to gain control of his horse. That's when Lindsay's lance struck him and knocked him out of his saddle. As was the custom, Lindsay rode up to where the king and queen were seated on the viewing stand and again lowered her lance. A murmur of surprise went through the crowd when she did not lift her visor. Lindsay didn't care. She made it to the second round. Her next opponent was Sir Rockwell, last year's champion. As Lindsay lined up at the end of the field opposite him, she wondered how she could possibly unseat such a seasoned opponent. The trumpets blared, and both horses galloped toward each other at breakneck pace. Suddenly, Lindsay reined in Lightning. The horse whinnied and dug in its heavy hooves. Sir Rockwell swung his lance away to avoid hitting Lightning, because injuring a horse meant instant disqualification. But Lindsay kept her lance trained on Sir Rockwell as he swept past her. The blow hit him squarely. He fell hard and didn't get up. Sir Rockwell seemed unconscious as his page carried him off the field, but a bucket of cold water quickly revived him. Again, Lindsay saluted the king and queen. Again, she kept her visor shut. This time the crowd buzzed. People wondered why Reggie would not acknowledge the praise of the royal couple and the applause of the crowd by showing his face. As Lindsay watched the other semi-finalists compete, she saw Sir Galavan unhorse his opponent in a single pass. The crowd cheered as Sir Gavilan lifted up his visor and lowered his lance to the king and queen. Clearly, he would be the crowd's favorite in the finals. As both Lindsay and Sir Gavilan mounted their horses for the final round, he called to her, "If you won't open your visor, I'll just have to knock your helmet off." Lindsay rode to her end of the field without saying a word. "Tongue-tied?" Sir Gavilan called out again. Again, Lindsay didn't answer. As the trumpets blared to start the final round, Sir Gavilan took off at a full gallop, but Lindsay merely trotted toward him, then stopped. Sir Gavilan was puzzled and lowered his lance. Lindsay suddenly spurred lightning forward, and would have scored a direct hit on Sir Gavilan had he not blocked her lance with his shield. He slipped to the right and almost lost his balance, but he managed to hang onto his horse with his strong legs. Sir Gavilan's smile had been knocked off his face. He was worried as he prepared for the second pass. At the sound of the trumpets, the horses surged toward each other once again. This time Sir Gavilan did not drop his guard. He kept his lance aimed directly at Lindsay, and even though Lindsay swerved toward him, he did not lower his lance. Instead of trying to strike him with her own lance, Lindsay put all her strength, and that of lightning, behind her shield as it met Sir Gavilan's lance. Shield crashing against lance with terrible force, and the blow knocked the lance out of Sir Gavilan's hand. It clattered useless to the ground. Without a lance, Sir Gavilan had to draw his sword for the third pass. He was now at a distinct disadvantage. Bravely, he drove his horse toward Lindsay, trying to get close enough to strike, but Lindsay swerved away to maintain her advantage and struck Sir Gavilan with her lance, bouncing him out of the saddle. She had won. The tournament was over. To a rising swell of cheers, Lindsay rode to the reviewing stand and waved to acknowledge the ovation. Without lifting her visor, she dismounted and bowed to the king and queen. The queen then presented the winner's trophy to Lindsay, who held it above her head as the crowd applauded thunderously. Then Lindsay mounted Lightning and rode around the field, holding the trophy aloft. When she returned to the reviewing stand, Lindsay handed the trophy back to the head judge so it could be engraved and happily galloped toward home. That evening, a tournament official arrived at Lindsay's home and asked to see Sir Reginald. Lady Rowena greeted him instead, introducing herself and adding, "Reggie is in no condition to see any visitors. Please state your business to me." "I am Sir William, head judge of the Royal Joust. I am here to present the championship trophy to Sir Reginald. His name has been engraved in silver upon it." "I'm afraid you're mistaken. Reggie had to drop out. He has been in bed all day." Sir William was taken aback. "This is quite confusing. We all watched Sir Reginald win 3 jousts, unseating Sir Wilton, Sir Rockwell, and Sir Gavilan. The Queen herself presented the trophy." "Are you sure it was Reggie?" asked Lady Rowena. "Well, he was riding the same horse he's been on all week, and wearing his usual armor." "But did you ever see his face?" interrupted Lady Rowena. "Now that you mention it, Sir Reginald caused quite a stir by refusing to lift his visor before the king and queen." "Rather odd if you ask me," Sir William replied. "Lindsay, come here this minute." Lady Rowena's voice rang throughout the castle. Lindsay appeared so quickly she must have been nearby listening to the conversation. "Lindsay, didn't you inform Sir William that Reggie was injured and would have to drop out of the tournament?" "No, Mother, I did not." "Did you ride to Northampton on Reggie's horse Lightning?" "Yes, Mother, I did." "You weren't by any chance wearing Reggie's armor, were you?" Lindsay looked first at her mother, then at Sir William. "Yes, Mother, I was." Lady Rowena smiled at her daughter. "Lindsay, I'm proud of you." Turning to Sir William, she said, "It is my pleasure to inform you that my daughter Lindsay and her brother Reginald have won the Royal Joust together. This is quite irregular. In fact, it's unheard of," Sir William stammered. Now it was Lindsay's turn to speak. "You would not have allowed me to compete if I had asked to take Reggie's place, so I took his place and kept my visor down so I would not be recognized." Sir William frowned. "Sir William, I would remind you of your duty as head judge to congratulate the winners," said Lady Rowena with a broad smile. Sir William shook Lindsay's hand grudgingly. "By all means, congratulations are in order," he replied. "I don't suppose you'd mind taking the trophy back and engraving Lindsay's name next to Reggie's?" Lady Rowena asked. "Under the circumstances, I don't believe I have a choice," sputtered the befuddled judge. Lindsay was dying to tell Reggie that they had won the Royal Joust together, but he could not be roused from a very deep sleep, so the good news would have to wait until morning.